Hey, did you know most land investors are leaving thousands of dollars on the table right now just because they're not using AI and software the right way? So if you're still doing deals the old school way, you're working way too hard. And today I'm going to show you my 7 favorite AI/software tools that have completely changed my business. Tools that have saved me hours every week, help me find better deals, analyze them faster, and help me sell them for bigger profits. So imagine running your business, your land investing business, your house wholesaling business with a virtual team that works 24/7, never complains, never takes a day off. And that's exactly what these tools feel like for me. So here's the truth. If you're not using AI in your real estate investing business, you're already behind. AI isn't here to replace land investors or house wholesalers or land flippers, right? It's here to replace the ones who don't use it. These tools are my unfair advantage. They help me work less, make more money, and crush the competition. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can start using them today. So you ready to dive in? All right, let's go. We cannot do a video about software without talking about my favorite software, which is FreedomSoft. You've heard me talk about it a million times. This is one of my accounts here. I use FreedomSoft literally every day. It does 95% of everything that I want to do in my land investing business. And one of my favorite tools is called the ZipFinder. And you can do this for houses or land. I'm just going to demo it right now for land because that's what I'm using it for. And let's just pick a county for demonstration purposes, Citrus County. And what this is going to do, it's going to show me in Citrus County for land, where is all the activity? Where are all the investors buying and selling land right now? It's a big county. There's a lot of activity, but look at this. I don't know, there's maybe 15 zip codes in that county. But where is most of the activity happening, right? So I always talk about the power of focus, and focus will make you rich. So if I'm doing marketing, I'm not going to be blasting, spraying and praying in all the entire county. I'm going to be focusing my marketing on the top 3 or 4 zip codes where most of the buyers are buying right now, because that's all I care about, especially if you're a wholesaler. All we care about is where is the money going, who is buying these houses, these vacant lots. And so what you can do here is you select, let's just select, because I'm going to make this really kind of like concise here. I'm just going to select the top 2 zip codes. And then what you can do is you click right here, find buyers, okay? And I can choose active buyers, okay, next step. And I'm going to be looking at here, removing duplicate owners. I don't want to pull 20 different properties owned by one person. So I'm just removing duplicate owners. And these are buyers that have bought land in the last, 6 months. All right, then I'm going to click right here, search. And now it's looking in just those 2 best zip codes, and it found 460 different buyers who have bought land in the last 6 months in those 2 zip codes. Do you think if I get a property under contract, maybe these buyers, one of these buyers might be interested in my property? All right, so then all I do is I'm going to select all these pages here, and I'm going to add it to a lead list. And I'm just going to click new list, and I'm going to type in list demo, and I'm going to choose my workflow automation. If you get the Joe McCall signature edition of FreedomSoft, you get all of my customizations, my marketing pieces, my templates, which where do you go and how do you get FreedomSoft? Glad you asked. Just go right now to freedomsoftnow.com to get a $1 trial and to get my signature edition. You get all of my contracts, all of my checklists and scripts, marketing pieces, follow-up automations, websites, all that good juicy stuff. All right, so this buyers list is going to be added in here for a second. And while that's going, I can also, now again, these are the best zip codes. Let me go back to this page here. I also want to find the best list of sellers who own land in those top 2 zip codes. So I'm going to click right here, find sellers. Oh, I'm going to show you this pretty soon here. You can now search the MLS, but let's just search all land. And I'm going to say, all right, remove duplicate owners. I want landowners that live outside of that zip code, so they don't live there. I want landowners that have lived in or that have bought the property at least 5 years ago. And I don't want dinky little property, so I might do 1/4 acre. That is a dinky. I mean, from a view, it might be an infill lot. That might be dinky to you, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to be chasing little 0.1 acre lots. And I don't want real big ones either, so I'm going to do 1/4 acre to 10 acres. In some areas around the country, I might do minimum 2 acres or minimum 5 acres. But in this part of Florida, a lot of little infill lots are happening. And so again, look at this. I'm getting all of the vacant land out of zip code owners who have owned their properties for over 5 years between 0.25 and 10 acres in the top 2 zip codes where most of the buyers are buying property. And then just like that, it's going to come up here and probably give me, I'm going to guess, 1,200 records in those 2 zip codes. Okay, let me go back here to the buyers. Here are the buyers. There's 461 different buyers, right? And I'm going to go click on this advanced filter, and I'm going to click on all the way down the bottom. I'm going to say owned properties. I only want people, investors that own more than 20 different properties. Do you think they might be looking for more? Maybe. I'm going to click search. And out of those 469, I have 85 different investor buyers who are buying land in these top 2 zip codes that own already more than 20. You can also do purchase properties. You could say, all right, show me all the ones who have purchased more than or equals to 5 properties on or after 6 months ago. Let's go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Search. And just like that, now we have 76 different buyers who are buying land again in those 2 zip codes that have bought more than 5 in the last 6 months. Does that make sense? Pretty powerful, pretty amazing, because now we know where they are buying. We know what they're buying. Well, I'm going to show you that in a minute. That's one of my other favorite AI tools here. But I know who they are now, and I can go in here and I can skip trace them. I can call them. I can send them letters. I can send them postcards. And it's just pretty powerful and amazing here to do that. Now with the sellers, all right, there's 4,900. Okay, boom, here you go. 4,900 different vacant landowners who own property in those 2 zip codes. And then all I need to do is from here, I'm not going to show it to you, but you can add them to a list, and I could skip trace them. I could cold call them. I could send them my postcard, which my postcard is amazing. And one of the things I'm going to show you, one of my favorite tools, is an AI virtual assistant that answers the phones for me. And I do that. I use that AI tool inside of FreedomSoft, which is pretty powerful. But from right here, just from this ZipFinder, I find the top zip codes. You can do this in any county in the United States. Find the top zip codes, find the best buyers, find the best sellers, and send them offers. Now, FreedomSoft has another tool I'm not going to demonstrate here because it's really amazing. It's better for houses, in my opinion, than it is for land, but you can actually analyze a market, and what it'll do is it'll pull all the investor transactions from the last 6 months. It's better for houses again. And then it'll tell you what by zip code, by number of bedrooms, square feet, bathrooms, and all that, what prices are investors paying for houses. And then it will help you dynamically create blind offers that you can send to homeowners. But oh, that's pretty cool. Let me show you something else. I can also find, let's say I want to find realtors that are listing land in these 2 zip codes. And I want to find, I only want to deal with realtors that have vacant lots that they've had listed for over 6 months. So I can click search MLS, active. I want aged listings. I click next step. And I can say, all right, remove duplicate owners. In other words, I don't want to see 20 properties owned by the same seller. And I don't care if the owner is out of zip code or not. And I'm going to say more than 180 days. And you could do more than 5 months if you want. So that would be what, 150 days or whatever. Okay. And I'm going to do maximum list price. I don't want the real expensive ones. So I'm going to say anything under 100 grand that's been on the market over 180 days, 6 months. And I click search. And now, do you think maybe these sellers might be getting a little motivated? Do you think the realtor might be getting a little motivated? Now, I've done another video on my YouTube channel where it talks about how to talk to realtors, and I actually call realtors live. Maybe my team can put a link to that video in here somewhere. But in that video, I'll put it in the description maybe. But in that video, I actually show you how to find these realtors. Now, one of the problems at that time was I found the property on Redfin, and then I had to go Google search for that realtor's contact information. And it was hard to get their phone number and call them. But now, boom, FreedomSoft does this. So look, I have 142 different listings owned by different owners of vacant lots in my hottest zip codes where the hottest buyers are buying that have been on the market for over 6 months. Now, what I like to do is contact these agents. And so I'm not going to show you right now, but I could click right here, add to lead list. Also, YouTube has a problem sometimes when I demo this and I show people's names and phone numbers and all that for whatever reason. But what I could do now I get these, 142 different realtors' names, phone numbers, and emails. And you know what I do? I email them and I text them, and it takes me like 30 seconds. And basically I say something along the lines, and I do this all in FreedomSoft. Just click, 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 and bam, it goes out. And honestly, it can get really overwhelming if you do too many of this at one time. So I recommend maybe 20 a day, 30 a day, because they're going to reply. And then when they reply, what do? You pick up the phone and call them, right? Okay, so this is what I like to do. I'll say, hey, Jane, whatever it merges their name in there. My name is Joe. I'm a land investor. I see you have this 0.26, this 3-acre lot, whatever, in city, county. And then I'll do in parentheses list price, and I merge the list price in. So all of these merge fields come from the data I just got here in FreedomSoft. I say, I'm an investor. How negotiable is your seller on their price? And I can spin the text. It's called spin text. And you do this so you're not sending a bunch of text with all the same words. You can spin the text. So I might say, how negotiable is your client on their price? Is your seller negotiable on their price? So then I can ask those kinds of questions. Sometimes I might even say something like this. I can't get what they're looking for, but I might be able to get them something closer if they would consider seller financing. So now I'm contacting realtors and I'm saying, hey, I see you have this property. It's been on the market a while. I am an investor. How negotiable is your client on their price? And you know what they'll say many times? I don't know. Good question. They're motivated. They're not. Go ahead and make an offer. At that point, I'm going to call them, and I can call them inside of FreedomSoft with my virtual phone numbers. The same thing with emails. I can email them, blast, just boom, with one click. And if you're worried about compliance and spam and all of that, it's different when it's with realtors. And I'm not a legal expert. Talk to an attorney, but we're getting their phone numbers from a public record on the MLS from, when they publish it online and stuff like that. And it's a business to business, which does not fall under the same rules if you're concerned about that when it comes to texting or, a cold calling or whatever. Even though that number might be on the do not call list, maybe not, I don't know, but you don't have to search because we're pulling that number from publicly available information and it's a business to business transaction. Does that make sense? Okay, so, and maybe I'm completely wrong on that, so just forget what I just said. Whatever, skip forward past that part. Now, I'm going to also email them. And I'm going to email them the same thing I just kind of did in a text. But sometimes I say, hey, listen, I see you've got this property. How negotiable is your client on the price? I'm an investor. By the way, if this doesn't work out, do you have any other off-market properties, off-market vacant lots that I might be interested in? I will pay you 10% commissions. All right. Now, here's the crazy thing. I can set it up where in FreedomSoft, I don't have the time to show this to you, but I can create a workflow automation. And you get these kinds of workflow automations when you sign up at, I'm glad you asked, where, Joe? FreedomSoftNow.com. Sign up for a $1 trial for 30 days. Get my custom signature edition of FreedomSoft. You can now just by changing the status of that lead, you can set up a whole year of follow-up where on week 2, it sends them a text. Hey, how you doing? You probably don't remember me. I'm Joe. I'm looking for vacant land. Do you have any off-market deals? I will pay you 10% commissions. Okay. And then 2 weeks after that, it sends an email saying kind of the same thing, but you can mix it all up. 2 weeks after that, it sends a text. You can set that up once and forget it. Now, if they do call you and respond and you want to take them off of that, it's really easy in FreedomSoft. Just click a button and it stops all of that automated follow-up. So this is, boom, mind-blowing. Now, what if you get a deal under contract? One of my favorite ways to sell my deals is by contacting realtors. Now, wouldn't it be nice if there was a way you could find all the realtors who have sold vacant land in the last 6 months in your top 2 zip codes, and you could just text them or email them information about your property and offer to pay them a lot of commissions if they bring you a buyer? Wouldn't that be nice if you could do that? Well, I'm glad you asked, because now, again, you're going to, from the ZipFinder, right, you click right here, Find Sellers, and then you click Search MLS, and you click Solds, and you click sold listings recently. And then I do include possible vacant land. Boom, just like that. Next step. And now it says MLS status is inactive. Ownership status, I'm going to say no preference. I don't care where they live. And then I'm going to say, all right, they bought less than or equal to 90 days ago. So this is just in the last 3 months. You could change that to last 4 months. Okay. Land, you could even do listed price max. So I don't want somebody that bought super expensive land. I just want someone who's bought cheap land in the last 4 months. Boom. Okay. And I remove duplicate owners. Yeah, let's do that. So I just want realtors. Okay. Boom. Look at that. Right here, baby. 153 realtors. I'm not sure if it's different realtors, but 153 different transactions where a realtor listed a property that somebody else recently bought. And now you can contact that agent. And all you do is you click all pages, you click add to lead list, you click maybe 5 or 6 more buttons, and you can send them a text or an email that says something like, hey, I see you recently sold a property. It doesn't matter if they're the listing agent or the buyer's agent. It doesn't matter. I see you recently sold a vacant lot in this city, in this county area. I have another property similar to it. If you have a buyer for it, I'll pay you 10% commissions. Have you noticed something too? When I'm talking to realtors, I'm always offering real generous commissions, more than anybody else does. Why? Because I want these realtors to bring me their deals, bring me their buyers, and I will pay them generously. When I'm calculating my offer, which is one of my favorite tools here, number 7, because I'm saving the best for last, on there's a place where you factor in the realtor commissions when you're making your offers on your deals. I'm already factoring it in. And you know what? When I'm making 10, 20 grand on a vacant land deal, I'm okay with paying a realtor $2,000 for bringing me a good deal. And I'll pay them again when I sell it if they can bring me another buyer. Does that make sense? So I get so many. If you're doing this marketing that I'm talking about, using FreedomSoft to contact realtors, texting and emailing them, and when they respond, you call them. If you just did if you just talked to 5 realtors a day, that's 25 realtors in a week. That's 100 realtors in a month. And you keep on following up with them with that automation that I'm talking about that just keeps on texting them and emailing. Hey, how you doing? Do you have any deals? Looking for properties. I know you don't remember me. We talked a while ago. You know, have you sold that vacant lot yet? Do you have any more? I'm looking for off-market, cheap, discounted vacant land. I'll pay you 10% commissions. These realtors, they don't want to list these properties. They sit on the market for 6 months. They don't know how to sell them, and they hardly make any money on it. So next time somebody says, hey, will you list my property? They're going to say, no, I'm going to call this guy Joe because I know he's looking for some property and he can just give you a cash offer right now. Would that be all right? Okay, so when you do this, you could easily get overwhelmed and you may not ever have to do direct mail again if you're going to do this realtor route. You know, my friend Jerry Norton, he does a lot of videos. You should go watch his videos on how to talk to realtors. There's a lot of that you can apply to vacant land like he teaches for houses. It's bothering me now that I can't remember the name of his channel. But Jerry Norton, you know who he is. Good guy. I was on his channel 2 years ago. We did a video series of 6 or 7 videos. But that's just FreedomSoft, okay? You go to Tools, ZipFinder, pick a county. It gives you the most active zips. Then you can find the best buyers, the best list for vacant land owners. So you can skip trace them, cold call them, send them direct mail. I like sending direct mail, sending them to voicemail. Actually, sending them to my AI assistant who answers the phone. And then you can also use this to contact realtors, maybe realtors who have older vacant land listings. And when you get a deal, you can text and email realtors who have recently sold land and say, hey, I got another one. Do you have a buyer? Is this crazy or what? Now, again, FreedomSoft is not necessarily AI, although it uses fancy software, which could be pretty close to maybe artificial intelligence. I don't know. But I am taking the liberty here to include software that I use that does amazing things, and maybe some of it is powered by AI. Who knows? How do you define AI anymore? Anyways, these days. All right, so you ready for my favorite tool number 2? My favorite tool number 2 is the Land Portal. If you want to get more information on this, go check out getlandportal.com. Now, in the Land Portal, the reason why I like this is this does use AI to find, let me clear my tabs here, to search for properties that meet your certain criteria of, like, you know what, when you're sending marketing, you don't want to contact sellers who own landlocked property, that it's wetlands, that it's too sloped, too steep, or whatever. And so this allows you to search for properties. So sometimes, let me explain this a little bit. I hope I can put this in good context. A lot of times different counties classify vacant land at different things. One county might classify it as agricultural. One might classify it as commercial vacant land. Another county might classify it as residential vacant land. So it's whenever you're using these list providers, it's hard to really get vacant land. But what the Land Portal does is it uses AI or fancy software to look at the satellite images of all of these lots in the entire U.S. and determines which of these lots actually have a structure on it or not. Because it may not be classified as a vacant lot, but they look at it and they can see the lot lines and there's nothing on it. That's actually a vacant lot. Wouldn't that be nice, right? So what I'm going to show you here is just looking for a list. Now, again, FreedomSoft you can get your list in FreedomSoft. It's included with your FreedomSoft subscription. Now, Land Portal is an extra cost, okay? I don't remember the cost. Just go check it out. You can try it out for free at getlandportal.com, getlandportal.com. All right, but let's go in here and I'll show you kind of what it does. Enough of me talking about it and yapping away. Let's go look at Florida. I'll do an area that's pretty flat and then another area where there's maybe more hills and mountains. And so because like obviously in Florida, I'm not going to find any properties that are too steep. And in the hills and the mountains in North Carolina, I'm not going to find anything that's in the wetlands, but you'll see what I'm doing here in a minute. So county, let's look at Okeechobee again. All right, Okeechobee. Actually, we were looking at Citrus County before, weren't we? Citrus County. Okay. Citrus County. And I scroll down here and here it is. I know this is really tiny, so if you're on the YouTubes and zoom in or something, but I'm going to just click right here, vacant lots. In fact, let me zoom in. Maybe that's a little better there. Vacant lots. So this is using AI with properties with no structures identified by AI. And the cool thing now is I can say, all right, well, I want 0.25 acres to 10 acres. All right. And MLS filters, they do have MLS filters. I typically will just exclude active listings. And I'm also going to exclude sold listings that have sold in the last 3 years. Cool. And if you wanted to avoid really cheap properties or very expensive properties, the Land Portal they have an algorithm that helps determine the price of a vacant lot. It's going to get you ballpark. It's going to get you 75% of the way there. It's not very accurate. I've never found one algorithm or pricing algorithm software or whatever that is very accurate. But it's going to get you 75% of the way there. So you could say, all right, I don't want anything that you're calculating is worth less than $10,000, and I don't want anything that you're calculating that's going to be worth more than $200,000. All right. And then you can say, I only want owners that live outside of that county. And then, I want properties that last sold before 5 years ago. So I'm going to go before 2020. Okay. Now here's the really cool thing about the Land Portal that I love so much is you can say, all right, well, I only want, now this is property slope. You can say, I don't want more than 50% of the property to be over 15%. So you want 50% of the property to be under 15% slope. You could do that. Or you could just say, I want at least 25% of the property to be buildable. That's important because you don't want to buy a land that is super steep and it's going to be real expensive to cut in a road and do all of that. And then, oh my gosh, look at this right here. Landlocked. You can actually say, don't bring me any landlocked properties. And let me be clear about this too, because I get my lists from FreedomSoft also. And I still will make offers on landlocked properties. But if you don't have a big budget and you just want to send a little bit of marketing and you want a really narrow niched list that is not wetlands, is not floodplains, is not too sloped, it's not landlocked, blah, 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 it's actually vacant, then you could use something like the Land Portal to get your list. Does that make sense? All right. But when I'm getting my list from FreedomSoft, I just mail everybody. I don't care what the property looks like because there's a saying in land that there's a pig for every barn. And I can sell any land at the right price. So if it is landlocked, I'll still make an offer, maybe $1,000, $500, and I'll sell it and flip it for a few $1,000s. But anyway, all right, I only want properties where at least 25% of it is buildable. And landlocked, no. And oh, look at this right here. Maximum FEMA coverage, wetlands, and floodplains. All right, so I can say I don't want any property that is more than 50% wetlands and floodplains. That's all you have to do. And then click apply and check this out. Now, this is also the entire county. When I was doing this in FreedomSoft, I was only searching for 2 zip codes. You could do those. You could do a similar thing here in Land Portal. You could say, all right, only give me results from the 2 zip codes that come up. But, all right, let me pause this video here and we'll see what happens. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, right after I clicked pause, it came up with 12,320 vacant lots that are what? That are not landlocked, that are not more than 50% floodplains and wetlands, which is important when you're in Florida, right? Where at least 25% of the property is buildable. The owner lives outside of the county. So this is a great, now you can take this list and export it. Now with the Land Portal, there's a monthly subscription and you pay a certain amount of money for every export that you do. But again, just check it out if you're interested. Go to getlandportal.com. FreedomSoft.com. Super cool. I like the way that you can actually search for properties using this criteria. And you can also analyze properties when a property comes in. I'm going to pause the video here and I'm going to give you a good example of one we just looked at recently, where it'll tell you how much of the property is actually buildable or not. So hold on one second, I'll find that for you. All right, so I found a property. This isn't the exact one, but this is nearby a property that we were looking at earlier, and this looks pretty nice, right? It's a nice property with a lot of trees, but guess what? It's very, very hilly out here, and it's beautiful. But is this a property that if you make an offer on, are you going to be able to sell it? Are you going to be able to sell it to somebody who will actually be able to build a house on it? Well, I don't know, but one of the cool things that Land Portal does is you can see over here, you can get all this information. They're estimating the price might be around $18,000. Again, take that with a grain of salt. That's good to choose maybe 75% of the way there, but keep on scrolling down and look at this. Ooh, yes, slope analysis right here. Only 3.85% of the property is actually buildable. What does that mean? Well, that means about 3.85% of it is less than 10% slope. It doesn't mean you can't build a house on it. A lot of these other people are building houses here, as you can see, but it's just going to be harder because look at this. 84% of the property is extreme slope, which means it's over 15%. And you can see also here wetlands and floodplains. Obviously in this area, there's not going to be any floodplains, but take a look at this. I'm going to actually click 3D and I can spin this around. Look how steep this property is. Now look at the views. It's beautiful views. Somebody could probably build a house on the top of that. And you can see people built houses over here on these lots. All right, so sometimes too, some of these 3D renderings of terrain like this, sometimes it exaggerates it a little too much. It's not really that steep, but you get to see here, well, okay, well, if they're going to build a house here, maybe they'll just build it up at the top, just like, if I zoom around here, just like these other properties did here. Okay, so it's cool that it can give you all kinds of information about the house, when it was last purchased, who owns it, where they live, what is the slope, what is the wetlands, and all of that. Super amazing. I love the Land Portal. I highly recommend it. Even if you are using FreedomSoft or if you're not using FreedomSoft, check it out, getlandportal.com. Try it out for free. Okay, now, my second favorite tool, it's not AI. It's just a mapping software that makes it really easy to find land. And I just wanted to put this in here because I use it literally 20 times a day. And it's called Regrid. R-E-G-R-I-D, regrid.com. And when you sign up for Regrid, it's a little weird when you go there. Let me open up a new tab. When you go to Regrid, it's kind of weird, hard to find, but you just click right here, Regrid app. And when you open that, you can buy it for just $100 a year. I think right down here, Regrid Pro, $10 a month, $100 a year. And then you can use the web app, the iPhone or the Android app. So I always just use the web app. And what you do now is you can pull up any vacant lot in the United States, even houses, okay? And all you do is you can paste in the APN number, you can paste in the GPS coordinates. So actually, let's go here to this property, and I'm going to get the GPS coordinates of this property. It's here, and then I'm going to right there. There's one, and there's the other part of that, and I'm just going to paste the GPS coordinates in here. Boom, comma, space negative, boom. All right, and if I just click on the thing that comes up. So the cool thing about Regrid is you can actually search by APN number, address, GPS coordinates, etc., and it just takes you right to the property. You don't have to put in the state and the county, which gets kind of annoying. But here's the lot right here. I can click on layers. I can turn on the owner's names. I can also click on layers and do elevation contours. So you can kind of see, you know, how steep it is, how much it drops. It drops from 2,320 feet down to 2,160 feet. That you can kind of see how it goes down. You can also, if you wanted to, right here, click on FEMA flood zone and wetlands. Obviously, there's not going to be any of that here in the area. But if you wanted to, you could, you know, zoom out and see where the water is. See this blue area right there? So that's maybe a wetlands or a floodplains. And the other cool thing is, you know, if you just click on the property again, over here on the left is a property information card. You can see it's 4.28 acres. You can see who the owner is, their address, all the prior sale history information. And it's a pretty cool tool. I use this a lot just to kind of see, you know, oh, you know what? Yeah, this guy, Thomas Barrett, also owns this lot right next to him. So if I'm going to make an offer, I'm going to make one offer for both of these lots. Okay. And you can also do 3D on this, but it doesn't work that great. Let's see if it actually works this time. Yeah, it moved me around. I don't know where I am. There it is. And you can kind of hold the command key down and kind of, yeah, okay. And you can see it's not as dramatic of a drop as a precipice as it was on the land grid. But yeah, I use this a lot to get information on the owners, to see who the neighbors are, and get property information on that. It's pretty cool. And you can also look at different satellite views. You can say, show me this satellite view, which might look a little different, or this one. Okay, and it'll switch there in a minute. Cool. My next favorite tool is Investor Base. This is so cool. This is a game changer. And if you're interested in this, go check it out at getinvestorbase.com. It's not cheap, but all you need to do is do one deal in a year and it'll pay for the entire year. It's pretty amazing. What it does is it will give you who are the active buyers in and around a property that you are looking to sell. And it doesn't just give you the buyers, it gives you the flippers and the landlords. And it skip traces and gives you their names and phone numbers and emails and mailing addresses. This is powerful because it's one of the fastest, best ways to sell your deals when you get them under contract is just get on the phone and call people who have bought property recently in the area. All right. So let me show you how it works. If you go to investorbase.com, check it out. And I'm going to put an address in here. I'm going to pause my video here and I'm going to find a property in Citrus County because we were looking up there before, and I'll show you the power of this. So hold on one second. Okay, I found a good example here of a property, and one of the things that I like about the land portal is you can see where by just turning on map filters here, floodplain and wetlands, whether a property is in a wetland or not. And if I click here, you can see this property. If I scroll down here on the left, it is 49.2% FEMA flood zone coverage, but there's still a property there. So I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe they have insurance or not, but you know, here's a property right here. It only has, if you look at the flood zone right here, 4.4% FEMA coverage. So yeah, maybe that's fine. That's good. But guess what? Scroll up and guess what you see? Landlocked. Yes, this property is actually landlocked. There's no road there. If I switch to streets, look at that. Oops, let me get rid of, there's no street there. Now, maybe this street will be, you have to find that out by talking to the owner. All right, so let me go back here to the satellite view. And let's go find another property that's not in a flood zone. And let's say right here, this property. Is there road access? I don't know. This says it's not landlocked. Okay, well, let's look at this a little bit. And if I click on streets. All right, so maybe it's part of this street. These lines aren't always perfect, but it's close enough for that. I don't know. Sometimes what I'll do is I look at different satellite views. Sometimes you can see if I bet you that road kind of connects somehow. But anyway, let's say I want to now find who, I want to make an offer on this, or I got this property right here under contract, and I want to know who are some of the investors that have bought land around here. Well, I need an address because that property doesn't have an address. So I'm going to click on a property that I know has an address. And this one right here, there it is. He's like, again, this property, there's no address. It just has, this is one way you know it's not landlocked either. It has a street, but there's no number. So again, I want a street address so I can put it in Investor Base to find out who are all the investors that are buying land around here because I want to sell them my deal. So I'm going to take an address of a nearby property. I'm going to copy that address, and hopefully this works. I'm going to go in now to Investor Base. I'm going to paste that address right there, select from the drop down, and now I can choose between 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 mile radius. Let's do 3 mile radius. Any investor who has purchased land, in the last 1 year, and I'm going to say property types, land, okay? And then I'm going to select more, and I want the purchase price to be under $100,000. Now, if I wanted to, I could skip trace the results, but I'm not going to do that because YouTube will not let me show results with search with that kind of personal contact information in it. So you don't need to see it anyway. I'm going to click, and by the way, the skip tracing is included in your monthly subscription with Investor Base, okay? So now it's zooming into that area. And I don't know, if there's not a lot of buyers, that would be good to know, right? Maybe this is not a good area to flip properties. Now this is great. Look, in the 3 mile radius, there's been 20 different transactions of landlords and flippers. Now, a landlord on land is somebody that bought it and is holding it and renting it out or selling it on owner financing. A flipper is somebody that bought a land and then sold it. Look at this guy right here. Legacy Investment Partners. I don't know where they are, but they bought it for $12,530 and sold it 5 months later for $24,000. That's about an $11,000 or $12,000 profit. This landlord bought this property for $5,000. They own 5 others. Oh, maybe they're looking for more. This one bought, okay, this is an example of somebody who built a new house. He bought it for $25,000, sold it for $250,000. I guarantee you he built a new house on that. Well, maybe CMH Homes might be looking for another piece of land in that area, and you could sell your deal to them. That's another, okay, here's somebody that's flipped it, bought it for 10, sold it for 20. What if you contacted this person, this investor here, Joanne Marion Irvine, and say, hey, do you want to partner on a deal? I got a deal in your area, your neck of the woods. You just flipped it for 10 grand. If I give you this deal, if you flip it, you want to just split the profits 50-50? I do that all the time. Here's somebody that is a buy and hold landlord. They bought this property nearby, real close, for 45 grand. They hold 24 other properties. Right. So anyway, I love investor base because just like that, you put in an address, and it has to be an address of a nearby property, and say, all right, show me all the recent buyers in the last 1 to 2 years in a 1 to 10 mile radius who have bought land, and give me all their contact information. And it gives you the phone numbers, the emails, the mailing addresses. And right from here, you can contact them and reach them. So that's one of my favorite tools. Go check it out. Get it right now at getinvestorbase.com. I do make a little commission on that, but I'd be recommending it anyways. I use it all the time for my deals. All right, now I have something else that's really cool that I love to use. Now, one of the tools that I used to use a lot is Priced. And Priced used to be like where everybody would go to get their vacant land lists of vacant land. And it also did a lot of market research. Now, there's other tools that do it as well. And so, but still a lot of people use Priced. I use Priced. I like it a lot. If you want to go check it out, go to joemccall.com/priced. I'm going to show you something that's really cool that I love about this. And this is where I start using ChatGPT. Here we go. Here's Priced. I go right here to the top called Research. Scroll down and I type in the state that I wanted to research. I do North Carolina. And down here is a table of 100 different counties. It's pretty wide. Let me see if I can zoom out. There it is. And it's got about, 10 or 12 columns in there. And of every single county in North Carolina, it gives you the total comps for sale comps, sold comps in 3 months, 6 months, and all time. Then it gives you sold to for sale ratios, sold to listed ratios, parcels on market ratio, total out of county owners, days on market. Obviously, the less days on market, the better. The month over month price changes of these vacant lots. Are they going up or down? And the population change. Is the population growing or shrinking? And the population per square mile. I like to focus on areas that are not too densely populated. I like the counties where there's not as many people because the land is cheaper there. So there's 100 different counties. There's a lot of research that you could do and kind of filter this out and kind of analyze it, but that just burns too many brain cells. I'm going to click right down here. I'm going to click Download Table. And what it just did there is it downloaded this whole table of 100 different counties with all of those columns in there, okay? So let me show you what it looks like here. Again, Priced, it's a paid subscription. You have to get in there and subscribe to it to do what I just did, but it's worth it because I get so much good research from it. And I'm going to upload this spreadsheet that I just downloaded from Priced. And there's some other good tools out there that do a lot of market research. But all I'm doing right now is I just want to take this spreadsheet, and here it is. There's, 15 different columns, all this information. And I want to upload this to something like ChatGPT, and I want to say, hey, analyze this thing and tell me which of these counties would be a good county to invest in, a good county to do some marketing in, where I can wholesale properties fast. So I'm just going to go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to talk into it here, okay? So that was North Carolina. All right, I just downloaded a spreadsheet of all the counties in North Carolina where there's been a lot of vacant land activity. And this spreadsheet has a lot of different data. I want you to evaluate this spreadsheet and help me find the best counties to wholesale vacant land in. And I want you to assign a score to each county and give me the top 20 counties that I should start looking at. I want to make sure there's a lot of recent sold comps there. I also want to make sure there's good month-over-month price changes, good population growth. I want to make sure that the days on market are low, and I want to make sure there's not a lot of competition. What's also important is I want it to be not a densely populated county. So I want more rural counties, and I want to be able to sell my vacant land fast. I'm a vacant land wholesaler, and I just want to find a good market to pull a list of vacant landowners and send them marketing, get a property under contract, and then sell it to buyers. Okay, so I kind of blabbered on and just talked, and I'm sure there's a better way to be more concise about all of that, whatever, but I'm just going to now upload that spreadsheet I downloaded from Price, which has all of that research in it, and I'm going to click go. And so it just, now this is all of the data right here, and it says, okay, got it. And I know this is maybe real small. I'll try to read this real fast to you. Your spreadsheet has a lot of good metrics we can use to rank the best North Carolina counties for wholesaling vacant land. Here's a scoring approach I suggest based on what you told me you want. Sold comps, they're going to put a 30% weight. Okay, that's cool. On 6 months of sold data. They're going to put a 20% weight on sold to listed ratio. So the sold to listed ratio, the higher the better, right? That means there's strong demand. Days on market, the lower the better. They're going to put a 15% weight on that. Total out of state to total ratio, 15%. So more out-of-state owners maybe means more motivated sellers. Month-over-month price change, you're going to put 10% weight on that. Recent upward pricing trend equals healthy demand. Good. Population per square mile, 10% weight on that. Lower equals more rural, which you want. Now, is there any other metric I might want them to include in their formula here? I don't know. Let's take a look at this here. I'm going to go back to priced. Sold comps, listed comps, days on market, month-over-month price change. Okay, that's good. I think they got it. I'm happy with that. And they're also going to use some filters. This is important because sometimes a formula just won't tell you everything. And you might get a real high score in a formula, but it's a county where there's only a few little vacant lots that have sold recently because everything else is strong, but there's not just enough activity there to get me excited. So now they're going to create some filters, which is really powerful. Sold comps has to be greater than 30, which is awesome. And population per square mile needs to be less than 200, so that removes densely populated counties. All right. Do you want me to run the scoring formula? Yes. Please always talk nicely to AI because you never know when they're going to take over the world. They're going to remember that you were mean to them. I don't know. So you just got to talk nicely. It's a good habit to form anyway, right? So I say please and thank you. I'm practicing what I'm preaching to my kids. Okay, boom, just like that. It's given me the top 20 counties in its opinion based on the data. I've scored and ranked all qualifying North Carolina counties. Your top 20 counties for wholesaling vacant land are now ready in the table that I just pulled for you. Filters out high density areas, requires at least 30 recent sold comps, rewards high sales activity, low days on market, good price growth, strong out-of-state ownership, and rural markets. Do you also want to give me to give you a short one-liner of why this county is good? Yes, please. Now it's going to give me a reason or justification for each county that you can look at. And Brunswick County, Moore County, Cherokee County, Jackson, Currituck or something, Macon, Dare, Clay, Madison, Yadkin, Craven, blah, 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 blah. I've wholesaled maybe in about 5 of these counties. All great markets. And they all have good high demand and good inventory, and they sell really fast. So instead of like trying to just pick 10 counties at random, get a list of something like this and upload it to ChatGPT and ask it to analyze this for you. And it can color code it. You can even have it give you the entire spreadsheet. So it's only giving me the top 20. I'm going to say, okay, this is great. Now please give me a table or a spreadsheet with all of the counties with a score for each county ranked by the highest score. All right, so now it's probably going to give me a table or a spreadsheet that I can download. Boom, there it is right there. And you can then look at everything there. It's pretty powerful, pretty amazing. I love using Priced for this. Now, the other thing I use Priced for, just so you know, is sometimes there's certain properties, like, for example, in Texas, where it's hard to get sold comps. Priced will scrape all of the land.com websites that have sold data on it, and it will scrape other land websites to give you some sold comps for properties that are in non-disclosure states. So it's pretty cool. Their pricing here, if you check it out, and they are implementing more and more AI into it. $25 a month. Yeah, that will get you that research I just showed you. Okay. And then $50 a month. And then if you do gold, it's $500 a year. I am at the gold level per year, $500 a year. And then when you export records, you do have to pay 7 cents a record. So it's real similar to the land portal, and they're slowly bringing in more and more things that the land portal does, but it's a great tool, and I use it for research. Okay. There's another tool, Land Insights, that does a lot of that too. Let me just give you an honorable mention. I know my acquisition manager, Matt, business partner, uses them. Landinsights.co. Okay, I've had him on my podcast before. This is a great tool for researching properties. And there's one or two others that are really good as well. All right, now my next tool that I'm going to show you is also ChatGPT, but I'm going to now download data from Redfin, and I'm going to upload it to ChatGPT, and I'm going to tell me, all right, here's a hot market, a lot of activity going on here. I want to know what are the hot zip codes here in this county? What are people buying? What's the average price? What's the median price? And so I'm just going to take you right now into Redfin. We're going to go to Redfin. We were looking before at Citrus County. And I want to now go to solds the last 3 months. And we're going to do land only. And I only want the cheap properties. So let's say land under $100,000. Okay, now there's 569 vacant lots that have sold in the last 3 months under $100,000 in Citrus County. If you wanted to create more filters, you could choose lot size in here if you wanted and do all that stuff. But 569, that's good. But when you go all the way to the bottom here on Redfin, and this isn't true for every county, but in a lot of them on Redfin, there's a download all button here. And when you download all of that data, it will only download 350 at a time. So I'm going to go to the very top, and I'm just going to sort by most recently sold. And now, again, most recently sold, I'm going to go to the bottom again, and I'm going to click download all. And what it just did is downloaded all the data of all the first 350 properties, the last 350 properties that sold in Citrus County under $100,000. All right, now let me upload this spreadsheet into Google Drive, and I will show you kind of what it looks like and what we're trying to do here. Okay, here's the spreadsheet. Lots of data, kind of confusing. You're like, what is this? I don't know what this gives you. All this information that you don't know what to do with. It gives you the lot size, but it's in square feet. I want acres, right? And it gives you, again, tons of information, which is helpful. But like, what I want to know, like, what are the most active zip codes, and what's the average lot size it's selling, and what's the average price per acre, and what are they buying them for? Well, wouldn't it be nice if we could just upload this spreadsheet into ChatGPT and have it tell us? Well, let's do that. I'm going to go right here, new chat. I'm going to talk into it here. I'm going to upload a spreadsheet I downloaded from Redfin of all the vacant land that has sold in Citrus County, Florida in the last 3 months. And I want your help with analyzing this spreadsheet. I'd like to know what is the by zip code, which zip code has the most activity. And I want to know by zip code what is the average and the median price point that those properties sold for. And I want to know what is the median size property that's sold in each zip code. And then I want to know what is the average price per acre that these properties are selling for, and the median price per acre that these properties are selling for in each zip code. And then finally, if I'm going to be making offers at 40 cents on the dollar, I want you to give me, based on the median sale price per acre that these lots are selling for in each zip code, I want you to give me the offer price that I should be making for properties in those zip codes based on that 40%. Okay, that was kind of long-winded. Man, I probably could have been a lot more efficient with that. If you kind of want to see what I did there, just pause this video. You know what the cool thing about ChatGPT, by the way, is you could just take a screenshot of this and then upload the screenshot to ChatGPT and say, read this picture, or take a picture of it with your phone. Read this picture and do this same thing with my spreadsheet. Is that crazy? I've done that a lot now. Instead of like retyping or copying and pasting, I'll just take a screenshot, upload the screenshot to ChatGPT and say, read this. Okay, so now I'm going to upload that spreadsheet from Redfin that I just downloaded there. And I'm going to click go. Thinking longer for a better answer. Now this is interesting. This is ChatGPT 5 as I'm recording this, just came out a few days ago. Some people are complaining about it. It's supposed to be super powerful, but it's just kind of like, meh. It's not that much better than before. And sometimes it's like, I don't need it to think that deep and hard. So for some reason, it's taking a little bit longer than normal, but I'm going to pause this video and I'll be right back. And I bet you it'll come back right after I click pause. We'll see here. Okay, this is about 30 seconds, but here is what it gave me. I just realized as I was sitting waiting, I didn't tell it that the column that we were looking at, this column right here, is in square feet, this column. So we'll see if it figured it out. Normally, in the past, I've had to tell it, hey, convert that lot size column from square feet to acres, but let's see if it did. Look, it did. Isn't that nice of it? That is so nice. Thank you, ChatGPT. Look, it converted the square foot column into acres. Hot diggity dog. It says, all right, awesome. I crunched the Redfin file you uploaded and built a clean by zip summary for Citrus County land sales last 3 months. Here's what you're going to get. Sale count, average and median sale price, median lot size, average and median price per acre, and an offer price per acre at 40% of the median price per acre, what to offer. And here you can download the CSV or the Excel file. Okay? And so this is pretty cool. In this spreadsheet, you can see the top zip code right here, and I'll make this a little bigger so you can see that. Okay. The top zip code is 34434. There was 99 sales in that zip code. The next was 34433. There's 51, etc. And you can see the average sale price. Now, if I wanted to, I could say, hey, turn these two columns into currencies and these columns into currencies. And it makes it a little easier to read, but you could do that if you wanted. Sometimes I'll do that just because it's annoying. But you can see here the average, the median, whichever. When I'm looking at analyzing a property, I just do whatever one is lower. But in this zip code, all right, so the median sale price is 19,900. In fact, let's do this. Please change the currency columns to a currency. Check that out. It's much easier to read now. All right, so 34434, 99 properties in the last 3 months that is sold there. And the median sale price is 19,900. The median acres, and again, I like median because it removes the outliers. And then here we go, the average and the median price per acre. And then I should offer 31,000. So if I get a quarter acre lot, let me get my calculator here. If I have a quarter acre lot, 0.25 in that zip code, I might just go, all right, 0.25 times 31,363. I'm going to offer $7,800, $7,840. And then I'm going to sell it for $19,900, which gives me a gross profit of about $12,059. Now, this is a pretty competitive market, so maybe I don't do 40%, maybe I do 50 or 60%, but bam, there you go. Okay, now that's one way that you can find the top zip codes, what you can sell it for, what you can offer just by zip code, but zip codes are pretty big, and in one of my next tools, I'm going to show you. In fact, I have 2 more that I'm going to show you, which I'm excited about, but I'm saving the best for last. I can't wait to show this to you because it's amazing what it can do. But I'm going to show you how, instead of just doing pricing by zip code or by county or by city, right, I'm going to show you how to actually dig in and see right where your property is, what is selling right around it. And I have an amazing AI tool that can help you with that. But I have one more thing I want to show you before I get to my favorite. And it's an AI voice assistant. And this is really simple. It's actually an iPhone app. And you can't set it up on the computer, but all it does is it answers the phone, and I'll demonstrate it here for you in a second. But it basically is an AI assistant that answers the phones for you. And if you go to hellom1.com, it's $20 a month. If you buy it annually, you'll save $100. So I think you get 2 or 3 months free if you buy it annually. But again, you have to go to your iPhone or your Android. And I think it's on Android. No, it's just Apple, looks like. Okay. And then you download it, you sign up for it, you can test it and play with it. You get a local phone number, and then you train it. And it's very simple. It took me about 5 or 10 minutes to train it. It just basically answers the phones and talks to whoever for you. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate it right now. And I'm going to call a certain number from my Google Voice number, but I'll put it on speaker for you.
Hey there. Thank you for calling Dream Big Land. We buy and sell vacant land. You've reached our automated answering service. If you'd like to sell your vacant land, we'd like to buy it. What is the reference ID on that postcard we sent you?
It is Jackson 1496.
Thank you for providing the reference ID. Could you please tell me your name?
Billy Bob.
Thank you, Billy Bob. What is the best way to reach you back?
Oh, I don't know. Just shoot me an email or something.
Sure thing, Billy Bob. Could you please provide your email address so we can get in touch with you?
BillyBob@yahoo.com.
Great. Thank you for that. What is the reason for your call today? Are you interested in selling your land, or do you have any questions about our services?
Yeah, you sent me this postcard. I'm interested in an offer, but I don't know. What do you guys do?
We specialize in buying and selling vacant land. We've been in business since 2006, and we can offer a fair price for your land and close the deal in 39 days. Once we have the reference ID from the postcard, we can send you an offer. Is there anything else you'd like to know about the process?
No, yeah, just send me an offer.
All right, Billy Bob. We'll send you an offer within the next 24 hours to the email address you provided. Thank you for calling. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye. Okay, isn't that crazy or what? Now, the cool thing is I've got it set up where that will redirect. It goes right into my FreedomSoft. So I don't want to get too technical about it, but you set up what's called a call automation. So when you call the number on the postcard, it's a FreedomSoft number. FreedomSoft will forward that number to the M1 AI assistant, and then the recording of that whole conversation you'll see that recording inside of FreedomSoft, and you can then listen to the seller, the conversation. You can type in the information, and you can call the seller back from the number that they called you before. So it's really cool. It's not that complicated. It'll walk you through step by step how to do it. And basically what I'm doing now is anytime I get a lead from any of my campaigns in any different state or county that I'm in, it forwards to that AI assistant and then takes that recording of that conversation and puts it in the right bucket inside of FreedomSoft. So it goes in the North Carolina bucket, the Florida bucket, the Tennessee bucket, depending on which number they're calling from the beginning. Super cool. I think it's $200 a year, $20 a month or something like that. And yeah, it's very simple and easy to set up. It just asks you some questions and you can test it and play with it. And it's been crazy. My acquisitions manager loves it. And he says it's great. I've been listening to some of the recordings and it's not trying to pretend to not be an AI bot because it says, hey, this is Joe's automated answering service. How can I help you today? And it's really fast. It's very conversational. It's pretty cool. Check it out. Okay, now, drum roll, please. My favorite AI tool. You know why it's my favorite? Because I built it. And I don't know a lick of code. I built this bot, scraper, calculator, offer calculator, using no code. I used an AI tool called an agentic agent or AI agent or something like that, or agentic AI. And it's called Manus, manus.im. And I built this thing and I just sat down and I said, hey, you know what? I want to build something that does this and this and that. How do I do that? And it says, well, you can do it like this or this or this. And I said, well, how do you do it that way? And it said, well, you could do it this, but that is against Zillow's terms and conditions. You can say, well, all right, well, is there another way to do it? Well, yeah, you can do this as a Chrome extension. Now, Chrome is a browser, internet browser, and I like Chrome. I use it all the time. And this extension I'm going to give to you for free. You have to use it in Google Chrome. Now, I've heard other people using it in Microsoft Edge. That's an internet browser. But I don't know, you have to try to use it in Chrome if you can. Now, what it does is I sat down, I just started typing into this thing. I was at a business conference while the lady was talking about Manus and how it can build software for you. I thought, yeah, okay, let's see if it does actually or not. And 4 hours later, I come out with this thing. I'm like blown away, like it just built this entire thing for me. So I wish I could tell you I was really smart, but I just typed this in. And the whole thing with screenshots, it would say, well, how do you want to do this? And I would start small. I say, I want it to do this and this and this. I want it to scrape this information from Zillow, and I want it to be in a pop-up window. And then I want it to be able to scrape the actives and the solds and calculate these numbers for me, and then export it into a spreadsheet, and then blah, 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 blah. And then it would walk me through all of the steps of uploading it to the Chrome store and getting it approved and all that. Whenever there was an error, and there was a lot of errors, I would screenshot the errors and upload it to Manus and say, fix this. I don't know what's going on. And it would say, oh, sorry about that. We have a problem in this and that. Let me fix that for you right away, sir. and it fixed it and then give me the new version. And so I got like 70 something versions of this little software, and I'm going to give it to you for free. No strings attached, except when you go to this page right here, www.dirtflippers.com/extension, and we'll put that link in the description down below. This is a really cool. There's different things you can do in this, and there's a way you can send the data to ChatGPT, and it'll help you come up with offers. But www.dirtflippers.com/extension. Would you like me to share it with you, show you how it works? You've been so patiently waiting. I really appreciate that. All right, so let's go to the Zillow here. And I'm going to pull up a property. We were looking at Citrus County, weren't we? Citrus County, Florida land. Here we go. All right, so I went into Citrus County, and I just picked a random property from somewhere, okay? And I just picked it, and I copied an address. Now, this particular vacant lot actually has an address. If it did not have an address, I would just pick a property nearby that has an actual house on it, and I would copy that address, okay? Now I'm going to open up Zillow, and I'm going to paste that address right there and go to that property, and I'm going to click back to search, and I'm going to zoom in, and guess what? There's my vacant lot right there with some cloud cover over it. Okay, that's interesting. And my vacant lot that I'm looking at, see that there's that house right there. Right there, there's my property. And I'm going to click on a few things here, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find my property in the center of this map on the left. I'm going to set my filters on the right-hand side, and then I'm going to start zooming out to get some comps. So I'm going to click Remove Boundary. I'm going to go to More, Reset All Filters. Now I'm looking at for sale. Good. Now I'm going to switch to I only want land. I'm going through this fast, so watch this video again, pause it or whatnot. But again, my property is in the center of this map. And instead of relying on algorithms and pricing software and tools that may even use AI, I want to find out exactly what this property is worth based on actual listings and sold listings, active listings and sold listings. Does that make sense? All right, so now my property was a 0.26 acres, so I might do some more filtering here. I want backups and pendings. I always want to look at pendings. And I might say lot size minimum 7,500 square feet, maximum 1 acre. I don't like real tight parameters, so I kind of like loosey-goosey a little bit because I want to get as many as I can. So 7,500 square feet to 1 acre. Days on Zillow is any, and I'm going to start zooming out. The first thing I notice is, oh my gosh, there's a property right there for 25 grand, 24 grand, 30 grand. So I got to make sure mine, when I put it on the market, is less than this. Even though this property is bigger, a lot is a lot. You can only do one thing with that property. I don't care if it's 0.1 acres bigger, if it's 0.5, 25, or 0.35, right? You can only do one thing with this lot. So I'm going to make sure my lot is cheaper than all of these else. Now I'm going to go right here and I'm going to sort this from low to high. Now I'm going to start zooming out. So I get at least, 10 to 20 comps. There's 11 comps. Let's zoom out one more time. All right, I have 54 comps. Now, in Florida, you're going to get a lot of vacant land comps. So you might be thinking, oh my gosh, this is what I think when I look at all this. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like there's a lot of competition. How am I going to sell land here with all of these vacant lots for sale? These are infill lots, right? These are little quarter acre postage stamp infill lots. Who would buy these things, right? I know what you're thinking, but check this out. I'm just going to switch to solds. Look at all these yellows. Oh my gosh. And if I go to solds in the last 12 months, there's just as many actives as there are solds. So there's a lot of activity actually going on here. All right. So what this tool does is it helps you figure out what is your property worth, how much should you sell it for, so you can be one of those yellow dots. Your goal is to sell your property within 1 to 2 months. What should you price it at? So just by looking at this right now, I'm seeing, well, okay, I got to make sure I'm less than 18,900, 19,400. Okay, I got to be less than that. But I like to go through and look at the price per acre. So I'm going to actually scroll down on the right-hand side and load all of these properties up. And I'm going to go to my Dirt Flippers extension here. Now, when you go to this link, again, www.dirtflippers.com/extension, there's a video on there that shows you how to install this and how to use it. I'm just showing you how to quickly get through it right now with this thing. All right, I'm going to click right here, Analyze Current Page. And the cool thing now is it just scraped everything. It scraped all 41 of those listings right there. And if I go back up here, you can see it puts these blue boxes there that show you the price per acre for each of these properties. 82,000, 84,000, 84, 84, okay? And if I go back to this little Chrome extension, you can see it's got 41 listings, and the average price per acre is 97,900, and the median is 99,563. You might be in some areas where you scrape them and there's like a huge difference. Well, what you do then is you can go through and eliminate each one of these individually if you want. But what I like to do is just say, all right, show me the lowest 50%. And then if I do the median, guess what that puts me at? That puts me at the 25th percentile. So let's say you've got 1 through 100, all right? And then I say, give me just the lowest 50%. And then I choose the median. I'm at the 25th percentile if I'm looking at this right. All right, so yeah, I'm going to sell my property. I don't want it to be maybe the super cheapest. I don't want it to be the most expensive. But I might sell mine for $84,615 an acre. All right, so then scroll down here, and I'm going to put that number right there. And I think my property I said was 0.26 acres. Boom. And guess what? All right, I want to make at least 10 grand profit on this thing. And I'll pay a realtor 10% commissions. Remember I said earlier, and I know this is really small, but zoom in, you can see this here. Remember I said before that I factor in the realtor commissions. So I factor in 10% here. You can change that to 8% if you want. I'll do $500 for photos, $2,500 for closing costs, and $1,000 for unknowns. And guess what it tells me right here? All right, so maybe the property is worth 22 grand, and I should offer 5,800. I'll offer 5,800. That's 26% of the value of the property. Now you might decide, you know what? Man, I can do assignments really easy in Florida. I'm not going to have any closing costs. I'm not going to use a realtor. So I'm going to offer 50%. So there's the number right there. I'll offer $11,000 or I'll offer 60%. Sometimes if the property is really expensive, let's say it's a 3-acre lot. Okay, look at this. If it's a 3-acre lot, well, the value is like $250,000. So I'm not going to pay a realtor 10%. I'll pay them 6% maybe. Oops. 6. And maybe I'll have more unknown miscellaneous costs. So I might do $5,000 in miscellaneous costs. So then it says, all right, well, you'll sell the property for $253. You should offer $220. But this is important. That's 87% of the value of the property. That is way too high. When you're doing land, my general rule of thumb is if the property is valued at over 100 grand, you should never offer more than 60%. If it's under 100 grand, you should never offer more than 50%. Okay, so I would offer on this property, if it was 3 acres and it was $84,000 an acre, I would offer $126,000 on this. But it's 0.26 acres. So what are we even talking about all that for? All right, and you might be like, I'm okay. You know what? In this area, because I can sell these so fast, I'm okay with $5,000 in profit, and I'm going to do an assignment, so I don't really need to pay any closing costs, and I've got maybe $500 in unknown. So there you go. Boom. I'm going to sell it for $22,000. I'm going to offer $13,800. Wow. Okay, but what about solds? We need to look at solds, okay? So I'm going to go here now, and I'm going to switch to solds. And I'm going to go to more. And remember, whenever you're switching between actives and solds on Zillow, you need to say solds in the last 12 months. Now, people always ask me, does this work in Redfin? No, because when I click here, apply, Redfin does not show me the size of the property that has sold. It used to, but it doesn't do that anymore, which is crazy. All right, so this is sorted low to high. I'm going to scroll down to load them all up. I'm going to go to my scraper. I'm going to click Analyze Current Page. And I'm going to do Show All. And check this out. Now I have the sold listings. And just like the active listings, I can see the average price, the median price, the average acres, median acres, average price per acre, median price per acre. Say that 20 times. But now with solds, okay, cool. Look at this. I got average and median. When the numbers are different, I always go with the lower one. So we got 81,207 price per acre. All right, boom. So that tells me similar numbers. The property might be worth 21,000. So maybe I'll sell it for 19,950. Get it right underneath that $20,000 mark. But I would offer maybe 13 grand. So you can play with these numbers. Now, the other cool thing I do about this is I might say, if there's too many, I might say, all right, only give me the lowest 10. The lowest 10 active listings, well, the price per acre is 79 or 82. I go with the lower one. And the solds, well, okay, it's less. But sometimes these are the prices that investors are buying these properties for. I don't know. But if I go with the less one, 56,413, which comes from right here, the average price per listing of the solds, this means, okay, I'll sell the property for 15 grand. I should offer, I want to make $5,000 profit. I should offer 7,200. But if I'm following my 60% rule or my 50% rule, I'm going to offer that. Does that make sense? So this is so simple and easy because now if I do show all, so now I have 41 active comps, scroll down, I have 41 sold comps. That's 82 properties that are active and pendings and solds in this map. See that map right there? Boom. And if I want more, if I want less, I just zoom in and out. This is why I like this so much better than an algorithm that just doesn't look at this the right way. The algorithm doesn't care if the property is on the water or a mile inland. The algorithm doesn't know if a property is really sloped or flat in a wetland or not. They don't look at all of the lots that sold in a certain radius. Okay, and they don't exclude the outliers. At least in my opinion, they don't do a good enough job excluding the outliers. They look at all of them. I want to be conservative, so I'm looking at the lower 50%, and then I'm choosing the median in between that to come up with my pricing because I want to sell my lots fast. Okay, all right, so back to this extension. The cool thing now again is you have these blue boxes where you can see what these properties are selling for per acre, et cetera, et cetera. Now, check this out. I'm not done. If you click right here, export to CSV, it just downloaded all those 80 comps into a spreadsheet, which you can now use for your future records. You can upload it. You can have your VA do this stuff for you. It's really cool. And now it tells you all these calculations. It just calculates for you. Yeah, just like that. The next thing that you can do is you can click right here, AI analysis. And what this is going to do is open up a new custom GPT prompt that I built called Dirt Flippers Analyzer. And what this is going to do, this is important, pay attention. What this is going to do is help you evaluate a deal you're looking at, and it's going to give you a 2-option letter of intent. Sometimes when I'm making offers to sellers, I don't just like to make a cash offer, especially in a competitive market where they're already getting a ton of offers. I'm going to give them a cash offer and a little bit higher owner financing offer. So I'm going to give them 2 options, this price and a little bit higher. If you're willing to wait for it, I can give them any price they want if they're willing to wait for it. So now what do you do with that? Well, if I get it for cash, I'm probably going to wholesale that, or I might just buy and hold it for long term and sell it with owner financing. But if I can buy it at a higher price with owner financing, then I can sell it at a higher price on owner financing to somebody else. So when I'm buying it on owner financing, I take title to the property. The seller becomes the bank. When I sell it on owner financing, I hold the title on what's called a contract for deed or a land contract, and then I give the title to that end buyer after they finish paying it. So this custom GPT prompt helps you figure all that out. Would you be interested in seeing how it works finally? Okay. Now, you guys have been so patient watching this long video. I'm just surprised and I'm appreciative of that. So, okay, cool. I'm going to say, all right, now I've decided already I'm going to sell this property for, let's look at it again. I'm going to go back to my little scraper here. I've decided I'm going to sell this property for $22,000. I'm going to put it on the market for $22,000. And I'm going to start talking into this thing. Okay, good. I have a property here that I need your help with analyzing. And it's a 1/4 acre lot in Citrus County, Florida. Great. We'll use the LOA template you provided. Before I run the numbers for your Citrus County 1/4 acre lot, I need the rest of the key details. So I'm just going to talk into this thing. Hopefully it works. I want to sell the property for $22,000. I want to make a target wholesale fee of $5,000. I expect my closing costs to be about $2,000. I will pay a realtor 10% commissions. Let's use $1,500 for miscellaneous costs. And I want to offer, let's say, 50% cash and 75% for owner financing. So what I'm saying is whatever the value is I want to offer, that I'm going to sell it for, I'm going to offer 40% for my cash offer or 50% for cash offer. And then I want to offer 75% for seller financing. And it's just kind of a place to start. We're going to send that in. All right, so it's saying, perfect. We're going to resell it for $22,000. You want to target wholesale fee of $5,000. You pay $2,000 in closing costs, et cetera, et cetera. So step 1, cash offer calculation. And there's 2 different methods that it will do for you. It will use the what it's worth times your percentage number, and then it will use what it's worth minus all your costs, and it will use the lower of the 2. So in this example, it's saying, all right, we'll use 11 grand as your cash offer, the lower of the 2. And then for owner financing, my second option that I'm giving to the seller, it's going to take 22 grand because that's what I think it's worth, and I'm going to offer 75% of that. I'm going to offer 16,500 owner financing. And here are the default terms unless you choose otherwise. 5% down, 5% interest, 5 years, which means I'm going to have a monthly payment of $296. But you know what? That's a little too much. I don't want to pay that much per month because I'm expecting when I sell this deal to probably collect about that. All right, so I want to cash flow this thing. So now it's asking me, if you're happy with this numbers, we just need to confirm 1, 2, and 3. So I'll talk into it again. Yes, I'm okay with the cash offer of $11,000. We'll do an owner financing offer for $16,500, but I want to do 0 down, 5% interest over 10 years. All right. Now it's going to create the 2 option letter of intent for me. And it's giving me now, look at this, my monthly payments to the owner, I'm going to have 0 cash out of pocket except for the closing costs. And I'm going to pay the owner $175 a month. Cool? Now here's my cash offer. Here's my owner financing offer. $11,000 for cash, $16,500 for owner financing, 0 down, 5% interest, 10 years. Now if you're ready, I can plug these numbers into a 2 option letter of intent, an LOI. Yes, please. Well, this is different. Hold on a second here. This is not the LOI. This is the wraparound financing analysis, which is supposed to be step number 2. So again, sometimes it doesn't get it all right. Oh, you know what? Here he goes. It said, it was asking me if you're ready, I can now do a 2 option letter of intent, or do you want me to also include a wraparound financing? So it did the wraparound financing first, but I want the letter of intent first, all right? Please give me the 2 option letter of intent, and then we'll look at the analysis to see the profit. All right, here we go. So this is going to be a letter that you can copy and paste, and you'll have to like add in the seller's name and all of that, of course, right? I don't want to download the LOI. Just please show it to me on the screen. It's funny because I demo this a lot, and every time it does stuff different, but you have to talk to it and tell it what you want. And sometimes it doesn't even get the bullet points, like in a bullet point list, and I have to tell it, it puts all the bullet points in like one big paragraph, and I have to say, hey, put this into a list. But anyway, okay, here we go. So here's the letterhead. You put your information in there. Dear seller name, I'm following up on our conversation about your 1/4 acre lot in your city in Citrus County, Florida. If you're still interested in selling it, we might be interested in buying it. Here are some different options we could possibly offer you. We can give you cash, 11 grand, close in 1 to 3 months. You could change that, close in 30 days, depending on clear title and due diligence. We'll pay any and all closing costs and any realtor commissions owed. And this is the simplest and fastest option if you're looking to close quickly and walk away with cash in hand. Second option, seller financing. We'll pay you more. We'll pay you $16,500, which I guarantee you is more than anybody else is maybe probably offering to this property. 0 down, 5%. Now, sometimes I'll do $500 down. It's not a big deal. $1,000 down, whatever. But monthly payments of $174.90 a month. Boom, boom, boom. Now look at this. This option gives you a higher price and steady monthly income over the next 10 years. You want to tell them the benefits and the advantages of this. You're going to get $175 every month for the next 10 years. Call me if you're interested. Okay? Then that's great. I'm going to say, all right, now I want it to do the, what did it call here? The wraparound financing analysis. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to just say, okay, great. Now please give me the wraparound financing analysis step by step. So what it's doing now is it's going to say, all right, so if you're buying it with owner financing and you're selling it with owner financing, this is what it's going to look like. This is what your monthly cash flow is going to be. This is what your cash on cash return is going to be. And this is what your total profit will be at the end of the day. I'm just going to say, give me a quick answer because this shouldn't take long. All right, so purchase step 1. We're going to purchase it for $16,500, monthly payment of that. Sale to the end buyer. Now I've told it to mark the sale price up 25%. When you're selling property on owner financing, you can charge a little premium. So we bump it up 25%. I'm going to get 5% down from that end buyer. We're going to lend the buyer then $26,000. We do 9.9% interest. You can change it if you want to 7 or 8, whatever you want. And so my monthly payment from the buyer is going to be $347. So what is my monthly cash flow? Good question. I'm going to net $172 a month on this deal. What other real estate investment property could you buy for nothing really out of pocket except some closing costs, and you're going to get $172 a month? What if you did one of these a month? What kind of difference would that make after a year or two? 10 years of $170 a month. So check this out. My total profit from the cash flow is $20,000 over 10 years. Total profit altogether, $22,000. Now, if I'm going to wholesale this thing, I'm only going to make $5,000. But now I can offer the seller more. I can offer the seller a higher price and make even higher profit, $22,000. Yes. My total upfront cash out of pocket needed, I need $625 because I have $2,000 in closing costs. I'm collecting $1,300 from the buyer. So I'm out of pocket $625. And here's my total ROI, 3,526% over 10 years. And my first year cash on cash return, 330% cash on cash return. So you're only out $625 at closing, pocketing $172 a month in pure profit and spread cash flow over 10 years. This is a very, very good deal. Okay, now if you want, you can put it up and it can put it into a one-page PDF summary and all of that. Woo! I love that extension. It's so much fun. And if you want it, again, go to www.dirtflippers.com/extension. Okay, now if you're still here, you're crazy. What are you doing here? Go make some offers. Go talk to some sellers. Go do some deals and get out there and make it happen. I also want to tell you, just give you a heads up too, I just got this today. Brand new book cover. My old one looks a little different, but you can get this book probably in the link or the description down below. Flip Dirt, Not Houses, How to Create Monthly Cash Flow by Flipping Vacant Land in 5 Easy Steps. And one of the ways I teach in that book to make extra money is by making the seller 2 different offers. Offer more than anybody else is offering with owner financing. Buy it with owner financing, sell it with owner financing. It's called arbitrage. And you just stay in the middle and get those nice monthly cash flow checks without having to worry about repairs and maintenance and the hassle of dealing with rental properties. You don't have any of that when you're flipping vacant land, especially with owner financing. You can, within a year, let's say your average mortgage payment is $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month. Your average credit card, student loan, car payment. Let's say your total monthly, I did the research on this thing, is like $4,400 for the average American household. Your monthly debt payments, including your house, $4,500 a month, whatever. How many of those deals would you have to do to live debt-free? 4,500 divided by 175. You would need to do 25 of those deals. If you did 2 a month, one every 2 weeks, within a year or a little bit more, you could be completely debt-free. Just doing those little deals. If you did 1 a month, in 2 years, you could be living debt-free and letting somebody else pay your debt servicing without managing tenants and headaches and hassles and all of that stuff. All right. So I'm excited about this. Go get my extension, my scraper right now. Oh, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. If you are using some kind of AI tool that you think might be helpful for me to know about, and you want me to do a video about it, please tell me. Tell me what you're using, how you're using ChatGPT, AI, Grok, and Claude, and all of that stuff. I'd love to see how you're using it, because maybe I can use it too, and then share it with other people on my channel. I really appreciate you guys. Have a good one. This is a long video. My apologies, but I think you got a lot out of it. Take care. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought. And if I did something wrong, if I didn't look at it right, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you liked, and I'll do more of those videos. We'll see you. Take care.